A Maine high school's football program, this early on in the semester, has already suffered so many injuries that they've canceled the rest of the season. And we've got some numbers for you. In just one game, 4 students were injured. 2 suffered concussions and 2 more had to go to the emergency room. The following Monday, only 11 members of the demoralized team showed up to practice. My limited football knowledge tells me that that's technically enough to play, but it wasn't enough to continue on with the season. This is a comment from one of the heads of the football team there. After looking ahead at the daunting schedule that remained and assessing safety concerns, the officials decided to cancel the remainder of the football season. And to give you an idea of the fact that this is obviously a huge move by one high school to shut down the rest of the season just because of the injuries in a few games, but many have died throughout the country already from high school football. This season, 6 high school football players have already died due to injuries sustained during a game or practice. Last month, junior linebacker Ben Ham from Wesleyan Christian School in Oklahoma died after suffering a brain injury from a routine tackle. Evan Murray, a senior quarterback from Warren Hills Regional High School in New Jersey, died after a massive intra-abdominal hemorrhage due to a ruptured spleen. Kenny Boy, a 17-year-old wide receiver and defensive back at Evergreen High School in Washington, died after sustaining a head injury. That's just 3 out of the 6. Catastrophic injuries such as death and permanent injury are 3 times more likely in high school football players generally than college football players, let alone the NFL. And we've got some more historic numbers, but they're taking drastic action because drastic action seems to be needed.
Well, look, it's football. People are going to die. That's going to happen.
No, but people do say that. And so I think that is a very interesting issue. I want to I want to tackle that in a second, if you will. But first, just a real quick aside on the sorry state of this particular football team in Maine, because I have a morbid, amusement by it, to be honest with you. Okay, so they started the year with 26 players in Camden Hills. 13 were freshmen and 3 were girls. They had opted to move down to Class D in an effort to compete. It was an effort that did not meet success. Even in Class D, they were getting slaughtered out there, and that's why they had lost so many players. They went from 26 to only 11 left. Okay, and at that point, the principal and the authorities in the school had to step in. To be fair to the players, they really want to play. One kid's like, "I'm dying to play there." They're like, "What if you get killed on the field?" He's like, "I don't mind because I like hitting people." Okay, and I can relate. I was a high school football player, and that's what I like to do. I had a lot of aggression as a kid, and it was a legal way to take out some of that aggression, right? Yeah. Positive way, constructive way, right? So it's not the kids who are doing it, etc. But the authorities in the school then said, "Well, no, don't worry. We might come back next year as a JV team." Oh, jeez, Lord mercy. Okay, so these poor kids out there, I mean, I don't know, are they all like, I don't know, 50 pounds? I don't know what happened to them. Okay?
I think they should get their best players and next year compete in Madden. Not in an actual football. Play the video game, man. It seems fun.
Anyway, I feel bad making fun of them. They're doing their best. They really wanted to hit the field, and they wanted to continue, right? Okay, now on to the much more important issue of what's happening in high school football. So back when I played, I had no idea it was this dangerous. They didn't tell you, right? And so it turns out, though, I got lucky because I played in the 80s, and it turns out it was much more dangerous earlier. So from 1965 to 1974, 150 kids died playing high school football from direct football-related injuries, neck injuries, head injuries, etc.
What was the year span?
10 years. It was a 10-year span from 65 to 74. Okay. 150. Do you know that Teddy Roosevelt nearly canceled the sport when it was early on?
Yes.
Because 18 people had died on the football field that year. Now, back then it was mainly college football, and there weren't that many teams, so 18 was a huge number.
Yes. And they had those funny leather helmets on, too.
That's right. And Roosevelt pulled in the heads of the universities and said, I'm going to end the sport entirely. I'm going to ban football from America if you don't figure out a way to make this safer, okay? Because I can't have 18 kids from Yale, Princeton, and Harvard dying on the field on me, okay? And but now you've got a situation that's on a bigger scale. Now, they did put in safety requirements after the 70s. It got a little safer, right? But John's right. I mean, there were at an average of about 5 to 6 kids that die from direct football injuries every year now.
And more indirectly.
And 10 to 12 dying indirectly. So what's indirectly? Indirectly is heat stroke, heart attack, etc.
Asthma, sickle cell, cardiac arrest.
Right, but which then leads to the question of, wait, now, if more athletes are dying from heat stroke and heart attack than they are from football-related injuries, and so that also affects track, that also affects other things, but I'm talking about just the football players, more 10 to 12, right? So then should we shut down track if they're also dying from heart attacks and heat stroke in track? So the answer might be no, that, yeah, it's a little dangerous a sport, but what are we going to do, shut it all down?
Well, it's the way that they're training. You know, you can't push people, past their threshold, but it's a matter of knowing what that threshold is. Of course, you have to push them as hard as you can to get the best performance, but what's the threshold for, okay, it's time to sit down, you're not being a pussy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're very, very right about that, because when I was playing, it was a weak move to get water during practice.
Yes.
And the coach wouldn't let you get water until everybody was near passing out, right? Then I remember many years later, I had heard that now they're hydrating all the kids because they don't want them passing out. And I thought, pussies. Right? I did, because I grew up a knucklehead, right? And so they taught me that way. They programmed me that way. Now I look at this and get a load of this. This is maybe the most amazing part of this whole story. So it turns out that before 2003, in college football, they used to have 2 people die from heat stroke every month. Amazing, just from heat stroke, okay? Because the idiot coaches would drive them into the ground, they'd get dehydrated, they'd have a heat stroke, they'd die. 2 a month, okay? Then the NCAA said, oh, wait, this is stupid. This is actually totally preventable, right? Why don't we take precautions? They took the precautions. Now 1 kid has died from heat stroke in the last 12 years in college football. Because if you do the right things, it gets safer and you save people's lives.
Yeah.
So I think that there are better answers than shutting down the sport. Even though now knowing all this and knowing that high school football is actually more dangerous than college or NFL football, I wouldn't let my kid play, which is a shame. Okay, I wouldn't, even though I love the sport, right? But I certainly wouldn't ban it for a high school. I would want my kids' high school to play football. I just wouldn't want my son to play it.
Now we know there's a great danger in concussions that comes up years later. They can't even tell then at the time. You don't have doctors on the field for high school games like you do in professional sports, and there's nobody there to say, okay, this is a problem. You need to sit out, or you need to sit the season out if there's a concussion that's going to cause a problem later in life.
And those deaths don't get included in these numbers. If you die years and years later because
depression, suicide,
exactly.
Yeah, we had a huge high school, and so we had an athletic trainer, but only 37% of high schools have athletic trainers that could help if there's an issue on the field.
Yeah. I remember when I didn't play organized football. I played pick-up football, but I played organized wrestling. This is true, no joke coming. But I remember our coach telling us to not drink water when we were wrestling and when we were practicing. In fact, I remember this story. I've heard it several times. He would say, it's like, yeah, I had a kid who pulled a muscle in his neck. He went and he got a drink of water. It pulled it more.
Well, in wrestling, they're trying
to...
I swear to God, that was like his thing.
What's his drinking form?
Water makes you pull your muscle more. That was what we were told. Wow. And then so I was a kid. So we were in like 5th, 6th, 7th grade wrestling. And I remember that we had to make weight.
That's right.
So there were literally 6-year-old kids starving themselves. We would put on our winter coats and run indoors to sweat and do all that stuff so we could lose weight. You shouldn't be doing that in 6th grade.
You know, by the way, you will screw up your body in wrestling 1,000 times worse than you will in football or any other sport. I mean, that screwed up my metabolism for the rest of my life. I mean, it wasn't in good shape to begin with. Let's keep it real, okay? But yeah, all the losing weight, gaining and losing weight, gaining.
Yeah, I haven't been, this is a sports story, and I haven't been made fun of yet, so I want to open up the floor for that. Play volleyball, man. Come on, volleyball's fun. It's great for guys. There's lots of women around. It'll get you in good shape, and people rarely die while playing volleyball. Let's put more money into that.
Well, John, you're not that far off because they canceled the football program in Camden Hills, but they do have 3 soccer teams, a golf team, a sailing team, a mountain biking team, and a cross-country team. So,
now, how many people die mountain biking every year? See, that's my question. So now, how many people die a year playing football? Hey, Would they have died where they go swimming? How many people drown every year? Should we ban swimming? How many people die? So I would need more information about how many people die, especially like mountain biking. I know that ATVs, right? So you have those people die all the time on those things, right? So those 3-wheelers and the 4-wheelers, they're dying all the time doing that. So nobody says let's ban ATVs, right? So I would have to get more information about whether we should ban this. I wouldn't let my kid play football.
So let's do 2 different polls on the TYT app, okay? Would you ban high school football, okay? And then would you let your kid play in high school football? So let's do both those polls. I'm curious what you guys think. And obviously, we're a little split here, but we're going towards the same direction. And Mark, finally, to your point, we don't know the effects of it later. So after I read all these stories, I always wonder, because I played football, I wrestled, and then I played rugby, where we bang heads a little bit, without helmets.
People die in rugby too.
Right, and I did that in college. So I always wonder, is the brain damage coming later, or has it already hit? Right? No, but seriously, I wonder if that's...
We do wonder about you, though. We've wondered.
There are a lot of people out there that are wondering, I know. And so that's why I'm afraid, even if you're right, there's the ATV accidents, wrestling has the weight problems, etc. But for my kid, I don't want to take that chance that he might have brain damage later, even if he survives high school.